Hello. Hello, hello. How's everybody doing? It's Friday. All right, so today's going to be Fertility Q&A Friday. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments. And I'll be covering your fertility questions today. I have a handful of questions I got from, I do a live on Instagram as well, a little bit earlier in the day. So I have some questions from there that I'm going to be pulling from too. Let me just get situated here. How are you? Hey guys. Say hello, where you're from in the comments. And if you have any questions that you would like to hear my personal opinions on, you can put them in the comments and I will share my opinion on them. Okay. So let me just, hey there. Hey, how's it going? Oh my goodness. Hi. Hey from Australia. That's awesome. Well, hey guys. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and jump right in. I brought some questions to get started with, but go ahead and put your questions in the comments. I would love to hear how everybody is doing. And do you celebrate Halloween? One of my absolute favorite holidays. From Bahrain, Wales, California, Utah. Oh, I love Utah. New York. Oh my goodness. Wow. That's awesome. Hey guys. Hey Mary, how are you? Okay. Awesome. All right. So put any fertility questions, natural fertility questions you have in the comments, and I will be answering them. One I got here is, can you have your period without ovulating, and how does that happen? Yes, you can have your period without ovulating, and you can ovulate without having your period. They're two totally different parts of your fertility cycle each month. Massachusetts, Ghana, New York, Ecuador. You're Ecuadorian. That's awesome, Cindy. I lived in Ecuador for 4 months with my husband. I absolutely love it there. So both can happen. You can have one and not the other. A lot of people think they're ovulating just because they have a monthly period, and that doesn't mean it whatsoever. All your period is the shedding of your uterine lining that was prepared for the last month and ready for an implant, for a fertilized egg to implant. Ovulation is the egg maturing and ovulating, and they're waiting to be fertilized to then go and travel and to implant in that uterine lining. So two totally different parts of the cycle. I personally had a girlfriend who never had a period, and she ovulated every single month. So lucky much, right? Let's see, Mary's doing great. Don't celebrate Halloween. You're the second person today that I've met that doesn't celebrate Halloween. What are some advice for men that have overheated sperm? Okay, so and motility problem. That's a great question. There's a couple different things that can be done. One is to make sure he's not carrying his cell phone in his pocket. Lots of studies linked to that, and also the heat from, I guess, the constant signal heating up sperm, even though you can't necessarily feel that. Tight clothing, bicycle riding, hot tubs, all those kinds of things. Those are kind of the obvious things. But there are some things that you can do to help support that. I recently was talking about a study with goji berries that helped to turn around damage caused from that. There are also some herbs that have been shown to help with that. If you look up, go to our website, naturalfertilityshop.com, and look up MH5. That's going to have a combination of herbs that you can kind of look into each herb to see what they do. I also have some other studies that show, but there's definitely things that he could try and give a chance. Carol's asking how to recognize fertile mucus. So if you have ever cracked open an egg and there's that clear kind of like slimy but like jelly-like outside, that is the same consistency as cervical mucus when it is fertile. Throughout your cycle, your cervical mucus is constantly changing from like watery to creamy, then to this like kind of thick, jelly to this sticky stuff. So that's one of the ways that you can recognize if it is your fertile time, but it's not the only sign that you want to go by. You don't want to just go by your cervical mucus. You want to go by multiple signs of ovulation, but that's one of them that can help you. Now you can still ovulate and not have the fertile cervical mucus showing up. Some people don't get that. So there are things that you can use to help support that. But making sure you're drinking enough water, even permazole oil is fantastic for that. But it's just like really getting to know your body and kind of paying attention to what's happening. But for some people, it's like very apparent. Like that's much detail I can get into. But what does it mean when you bleed for more than 2 months, and what would be the best method? So Elisa, you should definitely go and see your doctor if your period has lasted nonstop for more than 2 months. You definitely want to go see what's going on. I wouldn't, in that case, there's not an herb that I would suggest unless you went and got some type of reassurance from your doctor that is A, B, or C, and then we could look at it to help support it. But I would definitely go get checked out to see why that's happening. Marilyn is asking how to increase your progesterone naturally. So there's a couple different approaches to this. There's the approach where you can support the endocrine system, which is the overall hormonal system, which is my preferred method. Or you can use progesterone directly and start supplementing with progesterone. The reason that's not my first go-to is because there's generally an underlying reason that progesterone might be low. So that ideally would be addressed. But some women, regardless of what they're trying, could just have low progesterone because of high estrogen. So that's something to look at. So if like you have excess estrogen and you're able to take care of that, then the ratio would be healthy again and you wouldn't be low in progesterone. So there's a lot of different reasons and ways to approach it. The first is to make sure that you certainly are low in progesterone. So a little bit of no oils. And you can do a test. There's tests you can get online now. Prove, PROOV.com is a new company. It's actually out of Boulder here in Colorado that has an over-the-counter, or you just order off their website, progesterone test, which is super exciting. So if it's like, yes, I know I have low progesterone. So some herbs that are helpful for that is Vitex is very specific to helping with low progesterone levels. That is going to help work on the endocrine system. That's going to help with the signals and everything, but it does take some time for the levels to come up. Now, something to remember is once you are pregnant, you need to talk with your practitioner, your doctor, or your midwife about your progesterone levels so that they're monitoring you. If your doctor kind of blows you off and acts like low progesterone isn't real, we've heard about this plenty of times from people. Please find another doctor that will support you and test your levels because it's extremely important for early pregnancy. So that was a lot of information based on just one little sentence. So if you have more information for me, I could probably help you more specifically. Sorry if I just told you a bunch of stuff you already knew, but instead of maca powder, it's okay to take maca and teleform. Yes, maca comes in extracts, capsules, powders. It's all fine, whichever way you're going to be most consistent with. You can't just take maca 1, 2, or 3 days or something like that and expect to have results from it. It's something you have to do regularly every single day. It's a tonic herb, so you would use it for long periods of time to get the best results. Sorry, I'm thirsty. Okay, I've had a faint BFP, big fat positive after 2 miscarriages. Yay! I need to get my rattle. Does anyone remember the rattle? I don't know if anyone was around in the Periscope rattle days. Every time I had good news, I shook a rattle, and I saw it the other day. I have to get it back out. That's awesome. I'm shaking my virtual rattle. I'm so excited. I think it's because I've been on CoQ10, plant-based diet, and supporting ACAP. That's awesome. Yay. Keep me updated. Okay. Sorry, all the questions. Thank you guys for so many questions. They just all scrolled up. This keeps on happening to me. I am such a techie person, but when it comes to some of these things, I'm like, how do I work this? A second, this is a long question, so I'm just reading it before I say it out loud. Okay, can I get white egg discharge and still not ovulate? Yes. I do get this discharge every month for about 2 to 3 days. Yeah, you can have cervical, you can tell it's Friday, I'm sorry. You can have fertile cervical mucus, but not be ovulating. Unfortunately, yes. You're currently trying to have fibroid, you're trying to have a baby, but you have fibroids. So the thing with fibroids is, or any other thing where the body has something growing in it that it's not welcome or supposed to be there, it tends to be it tends to be a situation where there's excess estrogen. So that would be one of the first places I would look at. I just put up a video on YouTube about excess estrogen and what you can do about it and the different things to focus on. That would be the first place to start if you're experiencing fibroids. We have had many people with fibroids get pregnant regardless, but helping to manage it by reducing excess estrogen is going to be the most helpful thing and the first steps for that. Apple cider vinegar supplements are amazing for cervical mucus. That's cool to know. What's my thoughts on pre-seed? I think pre-seed's good. So I've been getting this question a lot lately about natural lubes and sperm and all of that. So pre-seed is a lubrication that is sperm-friendly. There are many lubricants that actually are not sperm-friendly. Either they'll have a spermicide in them, like actually trying to kill the sperm, or they'll have ingredients in them that make it hard for the sperm to travel. So I think pre-seed's great. I'm not crazy about the ingredients, but when it comes to trying to conceive and a lube that will work, it's designed specifically for that. All your doctor gives you is birth control for prolonged periods. Oh, okay. Well, that's not very helpful, is it? Okay, so if you've seen your doctor and that's all that they've been able to give to you, go ahead, please reach out to us through email and we can talk with you and kind of ask some questions and give you some resources so you can start doing some research for yourself. I just wanted to make sure that you checked with your doctor and that everything was pretty much okay. What are my thoughts on castor oil? How are you, Shafia, how are you planning on using the castor oil? I personally love castor oil for external castor oil packs. I think it's great. We've seen great things with it, helping to increase circulation, helping the body to naturally detoxify, helping to get things moving. I really like it. Are there ways to unblock fallopian tubes naturally? So there's a couple different things about blocked fallopian tubes. It's like a big topic lumped into one phrase, whereas there's all kinds of different situations with blocked fallopian tubes. For some women, it's just a little bit of scar tissue or tissue that's clogging the tube. For other women, there might be multiple scars, damage to the tubes. For some other women, the damage is beyond repair. So it kind of depends on the situation. We have worked with women who were able to go on to get pregnant naturally after helping to support their body to support itself in natural fallopian tubes. I can't tell you, yeah, we can unblock tubes. But what we do is we help to support the body. So if there is excess scar tissue, if there's lack of circulation, those types of things, we can support naturally through lifestyle and just kind of supporting the reproductive system. Can I continue taking herbs once I finish Clomid, or do I have to wait a certain time? So Clomid's generally 7 days, or I'm not quite sure. It's a short period of time that you're taking Clomid. First of all, you have to understand after you take Clomid, you may be pregnant, right? The whole point of Clomid. So you don't want to start any type of fertility herbs or anything like that once you may be pregnant, like at 2-week wait. You know not to use herbs during Clomid, I could tell by your question. But then that next cycle, if you're like, all right, we did that, I'm ready to try herbs and go this other route, you can start that very next cycle. Oh my gosh, you guys have so many great questions. Thank you for sharing yourselves. Let's see. Okay, so what can help with becoming pregnant? Hi, Lindsay. All tests have come back normal besides stage 1 endo. So I have a couple questions for you. The first is, have you tried or done anything to help to support your body in regards to your endometriosis? That would be one of the first places that I would focus on. I just recently did a video. You can find it. There's a couple places you can find it. You can message me and I'll just send you a link to it instead of sending you on a wild goose chase. But by focusing on that, helping to reduce the inflammation with endometriosis, helping to reduce the excess estrogen, there's a couple different factors with that are definitely can affect fertility, as well as the rate of miscarriage. So that would be one of the first places, if I was going through that I would start looking at, because you can support the body to help, with a lot of these things that you're experiencing with that. And it's not like, oh, we're going to cure it, or, oh, it's going to disappear, anything like that. But that many women have become pregnant even though they've had endometriosis. And I did a whole video recently, or I would go into deeper, but that video goes into great detail. So I would reach out to me and I can send that to you. Carol's had 2 early miscarriages in the past 6 months. I am sorry to hear about that. That totally sucks. They're around 6 to 7 weeks. I'm 45 and have had 3 children. Youngest is 8. Any advice for when I can get pregnant again? It depends on when, well, if you're ready to try again, emotionally, physically, you're just having to wait for your cycle to balance itself out from the pregnancy hormones leaving your body. Also, if you've had any type of testing done for those miscarriages, are you experiencing anything such as PCOS? Have you had your thyroid tested? I'm kind of going through the whole list of reasons that someone may have recurrent miscarriages. Also, supporting egg health is something to look into. I have a checklist at egghealthtips.com that you can get, and it's free, and it's just going to kind of go through the steps that you can take to help support egg health, because what you're doing today is impacting the egg that you'll ovulate 90 days from now. So what you're eating, what you're not eating, what you're flooding the body with, if you're flooding with nutrients and antioxidants and oxygen and positive thoughts and all those things, self-care, then you can help, to foster those eggs, because it sounds like you don't necessarily have a problem getting pregnant. Lindsay says, we just aren't getting pregnant. So Lindsay, I believe you were the one who's experiencing endometriosis. I think so. I'm sorry if I'm getting you guys mixed up. But reach out to me. I wouldn't mind. Yeah, that was you. I wouldn't mind getting you some information on, and see where we can kind of see what you've tried and haven't tried yet. I was almost 3 months pregnant with hormones at 3,800 levels and miscarried. Any advice with keep on? Was there any cause? Did you have any testing? Do you know why? Do you know if with your thyroid levels? I mean, there's so many different questions onto why why that does happen. What can I do to balance my hormones while I'm breastfeeding? So there are some things that you can do. I get a lot of questions about Vitex and using Vitex while someone's breastfeeding. And it's not my go-to, because Vitex decreases prolactin, and prolactin tends to be a big part of the breastfeeding process and what causes someone to lactate. So if you're wanting to continue to breastfeed, Vitex is not the herb for you. There are herbs that are beneficial. I have a whole video, Kamani, sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, on YouTube that is called Vitex and Breastfeeding, but I actually go over a bunch of herbs in that video. So if you want to find that, it'll go into great detail what options you do have while you're breastfeeding. Hey, Abigail, I'm glad you caught me live too. It seemed like a good time to actually be on. I usually do them earlier. How long does it take for a good follicle to mature? So it's an entire cycle through the period. It's an entire cycle depending on how long your cycle is. So for like a traditional 30-day cycle, it's going to be 90 days from attrition all the way to maturation. Milka. We are trying to conceive. I have now chosen to change to a more plant-based diet. I went through a bad case of corona and want to be healthy before conceiving. Any tips? So if you're just getting started, what I personally do if I was just getting started to begin getting pregnant, and I have no known fertility issues or anything like that, I just want to have a healthier pregnancy, I would begin by eating more fruits and vegetables, like you're saying. You don't have to cut out animal products by any means, but you can. Beans are fantastic. They're very high in fiber. They're very high in folate, which is a nutrient that's really important for early pregnancy. Before you can even detect a pregnancy, you need that to be plentiful in your system for the baby to develop properly. So eating a healthy fertility diet, fertility cleansings, always absolutely love cleansing. It's a gentle herbal cleanse that's specific for the reproductive system and helping just to prepare the body. Those would be two of the main places that I would start, and then laying the foundation for healthy fertility and pregnancy. So like a whole food multivitamin, an essential fatty acid, and some type of like greens food, greens powder, and making sure that you're getting plenty of protein. Most people do not eat enough protein or eat enough in general. Healthy foods with all of these things we just talked about. So that's where I would start. It's a little bit on the simple side. There's some self-care things that you can do. But that would be a really great place to start. Would I advise to definitely get progesterone if you've had 2 early miscarriages? Apart from testing what symptoms you get low progesterone? So no, I would not. I would test. Before I personally started progesterone cream, I would want to know that I was low on progesterone. Now, apart from testing, you don't really, with low progesterone, it's not that you really necessarily can feel it, but if you're fertility charting, you will see it on your chart, because right after you ovulate, there's a dip. Let's see, I'm backwards on the screen. I can't do it backwards. Let's see. Yeah, this is backwards too, guys, right? Okay, I'll try it. So you're charting, right? Here's your period, and you're charting your temperature. When you ovulate, there's a dip, and then it will rise. And that rise is caused from your progesterone rising in temperature. Because the progesterone, what happens is early in your cycle, your estrogen starts to rise because it's causing your uterine lining to grow. Estrogen causes things to grow in the body. So you're growing your uterine lining. You get that dip from ovulation, and then the progesterone kicks in because it wants to progestate. It wants to keep that lining, but it doesn't want the lining to continue developing. So it's keeping it in, that state. It's keeping it so it doesn't shed, and then it's rising, and that temperature rising is caused from progesterone. So that you will see on a fertility chart, but that's something that you would have to chart for a month, 2, 3 months to kind of see a pattern, to see what's going on. And then if you're pregnant, it'll just continue. The line will just continue going. And then if you're not pregnant, it'll drop, and then your period will start, like clockwork. So that's another way that you can know if you're low on progesterone. The reason I wouldn't just like blindly go on progesterone and just assume that's what's going on is you don't really want to mess with your hormones if they don't need to be messed with. I mean, that's basically it. Progesterone cream is progesterone literally in your system. It's a great tool, and I absolutely love it. It's just, I don't personally want people just like, I'm just going to use progesterone and give that a try. If you are using it and you do get pregnant, do not stop, and contact your practitioner right away and let them know, hey, I'm using this progesterone. This is how much I'm using a day. Can you please test my levels? And then they'll take it from there. Because there's a certain point in pregnancy that you're supposed to be at least producing more progesterone than a whole bottle would have in a day. So you can't just rely on that bottle of progesterone your whole pregnancy. If you have low progesterone, you're going to need additional support in testing and monitoring and all that stuff. And don't be afraid of that. Your doctor, your practitioner, now has you in their hands, and that life is just too precious. I'm sorry for my long-winded answers. Sometimes I go on little tangents. Can progesterone cream make your breast sore? Yes. All those symptoms of early pregnancy, when you're using progesterone cream, a lot of people feel them. You'll have the sore breast, you'll have the nausea, like all those early pregnancy signs. Not everyone feels that, but it goes away as soon as you stop using the progesterone cream. So as soon as you get your period, you would actually stop using the cream. What can I take to balance my hormones? My cycle is 35 and at times 28. So, hi Octavia. So having a cycle that is different lengths doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad, that there's something wrong. I would look for kind of like what's happening with your period. What color is your period? How thick is it? I know too much information, but all those things tell you a lot about your body. Are you spotting? Are you ovulating? Those types of things kind of tell you more about what's happening than the length of it. Some women have 40-day cycles and they ovulate, and it's a great cycle. Some women are 28 days. It doesn't, just because it's 35 or 28, that's not too as important as all the other little factors that are happening within that time period. Would I suggest seed cycling for hormone balance? I got this question last week. I think seed cycling is really cool, but it's not what I would personally rely on for my hormonal balance system. It's something that I would maybe add to it, but it wouldn't be the only thing that I relied on. Okay, so Coach Rojas is asking, I should have my frozen embryo transfer early next month because we're doing PGT. I don't know what PGT is. What should I do in the meantime as far as what to eat so we can have the best chance? So your transfer is next month. So, okay, so you're wanting to prepare uterine lining. You're most likely, they're probably going to be giving you medication to stimulate your uterine lining, I'm assuming. So you want to stick to diet. You want to stick to nutritive, like supplement type things, not necessarily any herbs, but I would focus on supporting uterine health. So increasing circulation, self-fertility massage is great for that. Beet juice is great for that. I would also look at helping to support uterine lining with eating lots of protein. The uterine lining is requiring protein for that. I would eat as nutritious as I could, lots of nutrients. Goji berry juice is awesome, tons of nutrients. You know, at that point, it's like make sure you're taking your multivitamin, your essential fatty acids, those types of things you can do to just prepare your body and be as healthy as you could. This is a beautiful topic. Yay, I think so. I think it's amazing. I think our bodies are incredible and they're able to do so much. Thank you for your advice. Yes, this is a good time to be on when my boys are in bed. Where are you, Carol? Let's see. I'm about to go pick up my son from school. It's almost 4 o'clock here. Good everyone, for a positive outcome. Yes, lots of baby deaths. Any advice on late period after failed IVF cycle? How can I get my hormones back to normal? Thank you for helping all of us. And this is such a great question. I worked with someone earlier today that was having this very similar, I mean. She had 4 IVF cycles that she's been through, and her cycle and her hormones have not been the same ever since. So I'm gonna say what I would do, and this is like the whole shebang. I know that for some people this is like, well, that's a lot of things. But what I would do is I would support the body first through some cleansing. I would do a full fertility cleanse for a month. I would then continue to support my liver using liver supportive herbs. I would then use an herbal formula such as Fertilicare that was going to have tonic herbs in it that helped the endocrine system, that helped the hormonal system overall, not trying to like push any particular specific hormone. In addition to that, I would increase circulation with self-fertility massage, castor oil packs. I'd be drinking my favorite goji juice. I would, what else would I do? I'd do self-fertility massage, castor oils. You know, the foundational stuff, do your essential fatty acid. And then, yeah, I think that's what I would do. And I would do that for a period of time. I mean, it's going to take a little bit of time for cycles to balance out and return because they were being controlled by a protocol. So now that it's kind of like getting off of birth control, it takes a little while for the body to begin producing its own hormones again. So one, it's going to take time, but those would be the things that I would do to just kind of help things along. Also making sure I was eating a really healthy diet that had lots of fiber. Fiber is going to help the body to naturally clean excess hormones from the body. So that's my answer. That's what I would do. What do I recommend for PCOS? So Pakistani lady, I've got a couple of videos that start with the PCOS diet here on YouTube. I can see you on YouTube. And because that's going to be the basis of everything of where you need to start with PCOS. Second, I think some more. So the thing with PCOS, regardless of exactly how it's showing up for you, because it's different for every person, diet has to be under control. You have to help to support the healthy insulin response in the body. That insulin response is causing the cascade of all these other things with the hormones, with this testosterone. Am I freezing? I'm freezing on my end. Let me know if you see me. The internet just went wonky. Uh-oh, my computer froze. We'll wait just a second. Let me know if you can see me. But the computer's like, you have been on much too long. Okay. Let me know if you can see. Okay. All right. I'm Hello. All right. I think my computer was like, you're talking way too long. Can you all hear me okay? I'm so glad to see that some of you are still here. That's great. I can't remember what I was just talking about. Sorry. Okay, so maybe it was this. What do you recommend for PCOS? I was going to say, yeah, that's what I was talking about. First, starting with helping us support and balance out the insulin resistance, because that's what starts the cascade of too much testosterone, and too much testosterone is then affecting the ability for ovulation and is affecting egg health. So there's this whole cycle that's happening. So diet needs to be a big part of it, and it also needs to be a big part of pregnancy to help reduce the chance of miscarriage with PCOS as well. And once that's happening, then there's herbs that can help with all that hormonal stuff that's happening, a lot of the discomforts and, like the hair growing different places, lack of ovulation, all those things can be supported as long as there's that basis and that healthy foundation of that diet. Will it be easier to conceive once uterine polyps are removed surgically? Possibly, yeah. Wow, I didn't know about the fertility chart. Mind blown. You can't get a progesterone cream here in Netherlands without a prescription. Yeah, some countries are like that. I want to have 2 successful pregnancies, but we want 1 more. Yeah, it's different in every country. Here in the United States, you can get progesterone cream, but it's made from, it's different. There's 2 different types. Like the progesterone cream we have is made from it's made from a concentrate from either soy or yam, whereas the prescription progesterone cream is different. But you can't get like estrogen cream or testosterone cream over the counter. You have to get a prescription for that. I'm so glad you said this, as I always think it was poor egg quality or chromosomal issues when I miscarried. My temp has increased a lot, so I just wanted to wait for my doctor to advise. I prefer self-care. Cool. Sorry, just getting back to my original question in regards to late period after IVF. Period is late 50 days. Yes, so I went into whole detail for you, Anne. You have to just watch this video. Before I cut out, it was probably like at 20 minutes or something. I went in a whole detail for you on what I would do. So check that out, because I answered your question in great detail. I was taking progesterone cream and I have intercourse on my ovulation days, and now close to I've always had pain in this. I was a little, I'm not quite sure. I can't understand exactly the question. On what cases should we avoid castor oil packs? So sometimes, like women who have endometriosis, half of them like castor oil packs, half feel like they kind of aggravate the endometriosis. When you're on your period, I would avoid castor oil packs. If you're someone who has very heavy periods, or lots of clotting, that types of things, I would avoid castor oil packs, and I would also not do them after ovulation in case you were pregnant. I'm just reading the comment. Castor oil packs okay after ovulation or if pregnant? No. So generally with castor oil packs, you want to do them that first 2 weeks of your cycle. I would stop them after ovulation in case you might be pregnant. Hey, from Colorado. Hey, Sammy, Colorado girl. You haven't had a cycle since September 4th. Anything to help bring on your menstrual cycle? So there's a handful of reasons someone may not have a period. So my answer is not like, take this herb. It's only $9.99. It could be stress. Like, who's not stressed out right now, right? Stress can affect your menstrual cycle. Hormonal imbalances can affect your menstrual cycle. Nutritional deficiencies, such as iron, vitamin C, vitamin E, can affect your menstrual cycle. And a host of hormonal, like I just mentioned. PCOS is also another reason. If you've had a regular cycle and you're not, and this is the first time that your cycle has been off and you're not pregnant, a couple things that you could try is the nutritional stuff is going to take longer. So if I didn't know what the cause was for myself, I would kind of just hit all the different categories. I would be doing something to help to reduce stress and really just take it seriously, like self-care. And then I would be making sure that I'm getting all my nutrients by taking a whole food multivitamin, but most importantly, eating a healthy diet that's going to have a lot of different of the food groups, and making sure I'm getting enough iron. A lot of women do not have enough iron. And that's very important for the menstrual cycle. And if it's hormonal, I would look for some other signs, but there are herbs such as, we have Rejuvaflow that helps to really increase circulation to kind of wake up a cycle. But if it's hormonal, that might take some more time. You might look into something such as Fertility Care, which is going to have herbs that are like tonics that help support the whole endocrine system. So it's helping with hormonal balance and the bigger picture. But there's no one black and white answer to why your menstrual cycle may not have stopped. If there's other kinds of things happening too, that always helps to, oops, just a second, sorry. I have like 2 videos on. It always helps to look at those other signs as well. You caught me live, yay, and that's right before I disappeared. Okay, yeah, I'm back. Frozen. Yeah, I live out in the country. My internet is solar powered, so I think something happened, but whatever. Great. All right, well, I'm going to wrap it up. What would stop ovulation besides PCOS? Hormonal stuff, all kinds of hormonal stuff. Some women aren't ovulating because of hormonal imbalances. The follicles aren't maturing. Stress. There's all kinds of different reasons that ovulation doesn't occur. Alternatives to metformin. I'm not completely against any type of medication. The thing with metformin is that some people it has worked really well for. My alternatives to metformin would be diet and managing insulin resistance through diet. For some people it's worked really well, but it's kind of doing the job of what eating a diet that would be low in processed carbohydrates. You can eat complex carbohydrates, you can eat fruit, anything, anything sweet that's found in nature. It's just the processed foods that turn into sugar very quickly in the bloodstream and in the body. Diet. I know, I'm so boring. Reflexology, good to get cycles on track. I love reflexology. It's not the only thing I would personally use, but it's definitely something I would include for sure. You're experiencing cysts and might have endometriosis, trying to conceive for 3 years. Any advice about health and healthy food? I see you're on YouTube. I recently did a video on YouTube. If you can just search through my recent videos on estrogen, excess estrogen, and the steps to take for that. If I was experiencing these 2 things, that would be my main focus, was helping the body to deal with all this excess estrogen. Because we've got chemicals in our home, our cleaners, the flippin' fluorescent light bulbs, the nail polish, the makeup, like all of our stuff has chemicals in it that mimic hormones, and all we want to do is just like look good, right? And I want our houses clean, but we're having to deal with like all these chemicals. So helping to ditch and switch, get rid of those things, replace them with natural products. There's a lot of good stuff now, so we're lucky. Like I was talking to someone the other day, and their husband said, "Your husband blames my husband blames you for me turning into a hippie," and I was like, "Yeah, that's pretty much it." But there's so many alternatives now. Like back when I've always been into healthy stuff, and like the alternatives weren't good 15 years ago whatsoever. The skin, the makeup, the skincare, the household cleaners, like they weren't good. Now they're good. They're better, I think. They're very high quality. So anyways, long story short, you're wanting to remove those chemicals from your life step by step. You can't do it overnight. I totally get it. And then helping the body to get rid of excess hormones through fiber. I need a shirt that says fiber. I love fiber. Helping the body in its natural ability to do that, helping to support liver health. Liver is responsible for metabolizing excess hormones. So that's where I would start, because that's what's stimulating all of those things to grow and to have problems. You can't like do herbs and do these different things when what's causing the problem is still coming in. So you start there, and then you can try some of these other things on top of that. But feel free to message us. I can get you specific articles so you have a clear idea of kind of like what step-by-step you would do. But that video I did on estrogen, excess estrogen, is a really good place to start. And then this next week, I'm going to be talking more about like how to create more of a non-toxic home, replacements for everyday things that are going to be more hormone friendly. Marilyn, you're awesome. Thank you. It's 10 p.m. Go to sleep. Yes, you're going to sleep now. All right. Thank you guys. Thanks, Abigail. You guys have a fantastic weekend, a great Halloween. I will talk to you again on Monday. All right. Bye.